I've arrived. This is the beginning. Yerevan Airport. I'm already being stalked by a particular taxi driver who just doesn't want to take no for an answer. I've already made excuses because I don't like it when they want me that much. It's just a little bit weird, and there's apps, and apparently with the apps I'll actually know how much it's going to cost and be able to tell what's going on. So yeah, apparently there's a lot of unofficial taxis here, and whilst that might be fun sometimes, I don't really want to start this at 5 a.m. after about an hour's worth of sleep on the plane. So let's just start things a little more simple and call something up on the GG taxi app, GoGo taxi app, who knows, something like this. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Almost 6 a.m. I think I'm gonna make it a quiet tour because I don't know if there's people in the room next door, but you know, it's pretty good. Pretty good, right? Let's see. I mean, it's all actually really nice, isn't it? Dangerously nice. Do we have yeah. Toilet with a poo shelf. I don't know if I'm going to be able to sleep or what, but I certainly need to lie down. It's still dark outside and nothing is open, so I guess trying to power through right now doesn't really make any sense, but here I am. I'm really tired. No chat at all from the taxi driver, so we won't bother showing that. Asked him how things were going and he was like, you know, fine. and I said, it's very early in the morning, isn't it? And he just grunted, and that was the end. And now we'll never see each other again, which is probably for the best. Okay, enough. I don't like how shiny I am in this light. I look forward to lie down, some decontamination in the morning, and take it from there. Well, it's morning, but it was still morning when I arrived, so it's just brighter morning, I suppose. So welcome to Yerevan. I am on the side street where my hotel is. This is the hotel with the kind of strange pipes up there. I don't know what that's about. And the different flags here. I'm not sure what each of those is. There was a Russian flag in the picture though. So that's been removed, interestingly. I'm pretty sure there was a Russian flag in the promo stuff. And now not here in the real world. So I've had a couple of hours sleep-ish, and I'm going to go and explore. The first thing I wanted to take a look at was a bookshop cafe, because that's kind of my thing, and then I look it up on Yandex Maps and it says permanently closed, so that's a great start, but I'm going to go there anyway in case that's a lie, and then take it from there. I need some coffee, maybe some food, but mostly the coffee. I walked out about, 1 minute from the hotel where I was staying, and immediately I find a couple of interesting things. So up here is a big old Soviet building. If you look up there, you'll see the crest of the hammer and sickle with a kind of exploding star-like design that looks really cool up there. And I have no idea what this building used to be. Now, at least according to the map apps, it's simply something where there's a few businesses inside and possibly Armenian public radio, according to what's on the maps. But I don't know, there's not an obvious way in. But yeah, just old buildings like that, just so cool, sitting there and now completely changed in their purpose. But what made me walk backwards in the first place, as I walked down this little garden slope, as I went in search of my second cup of coffee. I had a horrific instant coffee in the hotel, which was doubly horrific because I also looked up the words in Russian for instant coffee, and the word for instant is extremely long and impossible to pronounce, so you Russian. And then I walked out in search of a real cup of coffee, and I saw this. There is a guy hanging off the side of this. It looks like a tormented statue. I mean, I don't know what to make of this at all. Look at this face, it's like a sad face. There's a guy perched or welded to the side. Let's climb up here and maybe just try and work out what it is a little bit. What do we have around the side that's maybe more positive? That guy seems to be less upset. Even though his genitals are tiny, I think I'd be a little bit upset if that was the case. So here, I don't know if you can see looking into the sun, there's a female figure reaching up. For those yelling at me that everyone knows what this is, sorry, I just crossed the road at the closest point and was all excited, so I don't know what it is yet. Here's a sign. Okay, it's to a poet. There's even a bit in English here. I don't know how to pronounce that name correctly. Yegishe Charnets, the great poet of Armenia, prose writer and translator. Wow, and the sculptor, made in 1985, so been here about 38 years. That's really cool. I mean, who back home, poets don't get these things. They do not get awesome, dramatic and slightly disturbing monuments. That's super cool. Now for coffee, I hope. Well, I'm getting closer to what's probably the closed library cafe, bookshop cafe. But along the way in the building that it's meant to be in, I've just found this. And this is the second archway into the courtyard behind, where I've discovered, I mean, this is a bit disturbing, but people have turned it into an artistic zone. Like, that's not just, there is some graffiti at the end, but there's a whole concept going on here about books and reading. Maybe it's a good sign that we're gonna still find that the place is open, we'll see. Well, first mission failed. That is what's left. You can see over here, these panels, these closed entranceways, that's the address where apparently the beloved bookshop cafe was, which was exactly the place where I wanted to start. And it's not there anymore. So there we go. I don't know why. And now it's going to become a kids and baby fashion shop. I don't think kids and babies have a concept of fashion, and probably we shouldn't be trying to give them one, and we should be trying to give ourselves instead bookshops with cafes in, but there we go. The mission continues to try and find a nice cup of coffee. So far the searches suggest that I could be paying pretty much the same as I would at home for a cup of coffee, which just feels wrong, especially as I just went into a little chemist because my hands are super dry and asked for some hand cream, asked for a bit of advice, super dry and extra dry because of the air conditioning, I think, in the plane, and didn't understand what the price was and paid £15 for a bottle of hand cream. So I need some coffee and I need to sharpen up before I'm completely ruined by the chemists and other traders of Yerevan. Here goes. And here is the Cafe Art Space entrance, which I just spotted. Very cool, woven in with this, I guess, dead tree looped around. And here is the entranceway through this cool decorated area. This is the Art Space Cafe, which maybe is a little bit similar. So we come through this hallway, we're sort of inside outside. I guess this is always open to the elements, maybe. Let's see. And here I see books, so I guess I can call this a tree. And I guess there's security. But it's okay, I assume. Oh, there he is. Wow. Not too happy to see me. This is a cool place though. if you look, if the dog will allow me to stay, this could be quite nice. Door looks pretty closed. And the books seem pretty much to be in Armenian, which isn't ideal, but what a fantastic place. There's some busts up here, not sure who of. Wow. That's really nice, really cool, funky area. It's okay, thank you.
We're just opening.
Okay, no problem. You also run the cafe over here?
Yes.
Okay.
It's ours.
Great. Wow, really nice. That's beautiful here.
Thank you.
What is their coffee? Well, I've now spent the better part of an hour walking around trying to find a cute little local coffee shop to get the necessary caffeine to continue existing and then maybe start making some more sense in these videos. And every single one I've been to, and I think that's 4 or 5 now, is either gone, like doesn't exist anymore, and I've been walking around and around in circles trying to find the thing, and then discovering the picture of the entrance on the Yandex maps is now something else, like a pub, but it wasn't marked as closed, or it's not open. Little cats. Well, aren't they friendly? Oh no, we all need some love. Okay. I'll let you get back to your business, whatever you're doing in there. Now this is what I'm talking about. A moment of truth. Not not good, but not I'll take it. Okay, I'm caffeinated, or at least I put caffeine in my body. As to whether it has any effect remains to be seen. And now let's go. I'm gonna head to Republic Square, which is meant to be quite something. It's not just the center, but is architecturally impressive. Super interesting history that I've been reading about to it. So I think that can't be closed down or not the right address. So here's hoping that that's going to be the first real victory so far. So here goes. Well, I made it. This is Republic Square, and it's not been moved and it's not closed, which is a relief. So take a little spin around. So this is the center and seems to be widely hailed for being very beautiful architecturally. All these weird sort of white boxes behind me, I believe, are for fountains, which aren't on at the moment. They're more a summer thing, and they're musical. And they go put on displays in time with music, so kind of sad to be missing that. But yeah, so they don't look that nice when they're not being fountains. Behind that is the History Museum, which I want to take a look at some point whilst I'm here. And although this is like the center of this capital of an ancient country, these buildings began to be constructed, or at least the main ones that form part of this ensemble, in the 20s and were finished mostly in the 50s. I think the History Museum, some extra part of it was added maybe in the 70s, if I'm remembering what I read this morning correctly. So it's all relatively new, but definitely hasn't been done in a style like so many like modern town centers back home. It's really nicely composed, really pretty. Over this way, hey, is the Marriott Hotel, which is hardly the most exciting place, but it is exciting because it was a Soviet hotel, and then when the Marriott took over and they were remodeling, they discovered an entire extra floor of not like a full height or maybe not as full as the normal height ones, about 1.5 meters tall, an extra floor just for the KGB to spy on the guests, which is incredible. That's like Indiana Jones style secret passageways, but a whole floor. So I don't know why they haven't made that a tourist attraction, but maybe it would still mean that you were spying on the guests, which would probably be a problem. Maybe you can do it in an eyes wide shut way, but you'd have to pay super extra premium and it wouldn't be that easily advertised. So this is pretty nice. It used to be called Lenin Square. What a surprise. But after independence of Armenia, that ended, and then there was a giant Lenin statue that was pulled down, and I have read that the Lenin statue is in the courtyard behind this building, but I've also read the security guards don't let you in, or if they do, if you have some means to get in, photography isn't allowed. So I'm just imagining this beheaded Lenin figure back there. I'll do a lap around the building, but I'm imagining they're pretty wise to people wanting to get a picture. But when you've been to some other post-Soviet countries, it's not that special to see toppled Lenin statues, especially if you're in Ukraine where they pulled them all down. So I don't need to fetishize that. But there was also a big Stalin statue, and I want to go and try and find where that was. And it was replaced with an Mother Armenia statue, and I want to see if I can find that and show it to you. Okay, I've made it to the other side of the square, and now I think I'm standing in the absence of Lenin. This, I think, is, from the pictures that I've been able to find, where the giant Lenin statue was, overlooking his square when it was Lenin Square. And in theory, you should, on a clear day, and with better eyesight than mine, be able to then see the Lenin statue and to look down here, down this street, this wide avenue, and have seen Mount Ararat in the background, all very nicely composed. But now there's just a bit of scrubby, crappy grass, and I think maybe it's meant to be more fountains down there. When the absence of Lenin and the absence of fountains are a little hard to know what's what for sure, but I think that's also the absence of fountains down there. If you're interested, you can just Google Yerevan Republic Square Lenin statue, and you can see people have taken and posted pictures of this big statue that's now just lying around with his head off. It's it's funny, in Moscow and elsewhere, but I've been to the one in Moscow, there's a statue park with all of the toppled monuments and statues, particularly of Stalin, that have been removed. The Lenin ones, I think, in Russia remain less controversial. It's just maybe felt to be more of a general historical figure and not as troublesome in the memory and to the present. Stalin, more difficult to deal with. He's removed in lots of ways, and then there's in the same park a statue of the first head of the Cheka, the secret police that went through various different names over the years, up to and including KGB. Felix Dzerzhinsky, his statue used to stand right outside the Lubyanka secret police. Well, not so secret, but that kind of police headquarters. And there's been a series of controversies over that, whether it should be restored, whether it's removed. There's just next to where his statue was is a monument to the victims of the Gulag. All of these different bits of history grating up against each other. Now, maybe there is an argument that it can be good just to remove those things, and then maybe there's an argument that the past is there, and for some people it carries different meanings. I mean, maybe not an argument for a Stalin statue, but maybe for some people still a Lenin statue means different things than what we might imagine. So, onwards to the next point. Okay, stopping off, unexpected find. There is a statue here behind me of a guy called Alexander Griboyedov. Now, I knew his name, and here you can see this dedication to Alexander Griboyedov from the grateful Armenian people. And I thought, why are they grateful to him? All I knew was that his name is also associated with the canal in St. Petersburg, where near where I would drink in a beer garden. So I have fond connections to Griboyedov, but actually didn't know anything about him. So I thought, okay, I'll just look him up. And I am bamboozled by what I have now read. So that I don't just butcher what is a pretty amazing story, I'm just going to read the bits from Wikipedia, and you can fill in any blanks that you want yourself. So the guy behind me. Здравствуйте.
Не на экскурсию? Я жду
Нет.
туристов.
Да, я снимаю маленькие видео для друзей дома.
Вы хотите, чтобы я что-то говорила о нем?
Бесплатно? Да, пожалуйста, да, пожалуйста. Я снимаю.
Да, в очках хорошо или без очков я буду, я не знаю. Итак, здравствуйте, уважаемые друзья. Мы находимся в столице Армении, в городе Ереван, в самом, можно сказать, сердце Еревана. Рядом с памятником, посвященный Александру Сергеевичу Грибоедову. Ну, конечно, многие его знают как великого русского писателя, который написал «Горе от ума». Но это великий российский посол, который служил в Тегеране и защищал интересы армян. Во время русско-персидской войны в 1827 году, благодаря армии Паскевича, вся Восточная Армения и город Ереван, Еревень тогда назывался, был освобожден от персидского ига. И это все благодаря Российской империи, благодаря войску Паскевича и Александру Сергеевичу Грибоедову. Грибоедов заключил договор, который назывался Туркменчайский договор, на основании чего 300 тысяч армян, которые в 17 веке были изгнаны из Еревана, они имели право вернуться обратно на свою историческую родину. Ему не простили персы этот Туркменчайский договор, и Александр Сергеевич был зверски растерзан толпою исламских экстремистов. Его узнают лишь по мизинцу левой руки, которая была обстреляна во время дуэли с Якубовичем. Жена у него была княжна Александра Нино Чавчавадзе. Нино было 16 лет, когда она вышла замуж за Александра, а ему было 33. Он похоронен в Тифлисе. Рядом покоится Нино Чавчавадзе, которая так и не вышла замуж. В Тбилиси ее называют «Черная роза Тифлиса». Она является символом любви, а это она есть как бы гимн любви, преданности и верности, потому что Нино больше никогда не выйдет замуж. И последние слова Нино перед смертью были следующие: «Ум и дела твои бессмертны в памяти русской, но почему оставила меня любовь твоя?» Написано от благодарного армянского народа.
Да, я это вижу.
Армянский народ не забывает своих героев, своих друзей, которые протягивают руку помощи в тяжелые жизненные моменты.
Он был так молодой. Так молодой.
Ему было 33 года.
Всё.
Всего лишь.
Я уже старше.
Да,
Страшно.
возраст Иисуса Христа. Он является как бы героем нашим.
Да.
Вы можете
Вы-
мой номер телефона написать, чтобы если кто захочет экскурсию?
Да, конечно, давайте.
Значит, я гид по Еревану и гид по Армении. Мои координаты, мой еще номер телефона +374, это Армения, код Армении, 099 58 08 и 8 в квадрате, 64. Звоните, всех приглашаю в солнечную Армению. Спасибо.
Да, я напишу на экране также. Ну, спасибо огромное, очень приятно. So there you go. A free, unexpected tour in much more detail. What a nice lady, just giving us a little free tour. And now her actual tour group has turned up, so she's going to make her money there. That's very kind, bit of self-promotion as well. She knows what she's doing. I'm super impressed. And now the eternal memory of Alexander Griboyedov gets to be honored next to this bizarre, funfair park. There's the entrance, and the whole time that we were getting our little tour there, all I could see was these bizarre rotating swans flying through the treetops. And occasionally, maybe you heard it, there's a kind of pendulum thing where people sit in this and it goes back and forth. So that was just the pneumatic hissing and whooshing of that in the background. It's just completely surreal. This guy who was killed in an embassy for refusing to give up these Armenians who wanted to escape from a harem, and now he stands next to a strange psychedelic looking amusement park on a budget. It's just weird. I love it. So I was filming in the mall, and then a security guard came up and told me to stop, and then started calling his manager, and he said I was using professional filming equipment, which I think is quite a compliment for my tiny little DJI camera on a stick. So I thought I'd better just leave it at that. He seemed to want me to stay there and face some kind of music, so I said, look, I'm really sorry, I'll go. So I left, and now I'm outside, and this building's really caught my attention here. There's just something about, I think it's the color tones that are just grabbing me. The way it looks, it's like from a video game of a perhaps semi-dystopian future. And it just doesn't fit with anything else. There's a mall here, the mall I'm probably now banned from, the high rises, but they're more, like blocks going up rather than landscape, and the big church, and there's our friend Griboyedov. And then there's this. So here I am with a big cathedral behind me. There it is. Zoom it around. Pretty cool. I don't want to stand right in the middle because people are constantly coming up and down and in and out. I don't want to get in the way of them going about their business and their worship. So this is quite a new church. It was consecrated just in 2001 and is dedicated to St. Gregory the Enlightener, or the Illuminator, who converted Armenia formally as a state to Christianity apparently 1,700 years ago. So that's a pretty long time. Armenia is a very Christian country, and they usually don't have seats, I learned just today, in churches. People stand up for the services, but in here, and I'm going to go check that out as well, they have 1,700 seats. Also mark the anniversary. I wonder if that sets the tone and there's going to be seats in more churches. But yeah, it's a really interesting style of building. I think it's so cool. I'll go and have a look inside if I'm allowed to go in. I think I am, but won't be able to take you with me. What I didn't expect around the back of the church was a vast open space of just concrete and nothing, with a metal cross in it. But the back of the church still looks good. It's a bit caught in silhouette there, but it's a beautiful shape, and it's really stunning inside. It feels modern and ancient at the same time, with this vaulted space. It feels like a concert hall as well as a church. But I also didn't expect around the backyard of the church was a mini solar farm. So is the church running on solar power? I don't know. And there's a skate park as well. So yeah, a bunch of unexpected juxtapositions. But I really like that church. It's a great space. Nobody is using the skate park. Yerevan skate park, where you can try and do this route with every possibility of smashing yourself into metal hoops as punishment for not being good enough. And maybe you can one day be as cool as this guy defying gravity up there. I feel like I'm in a Star Fox game, going through the circles, There's absolutely nobody here with a skateboard, I don't think. It turns out there's more to the skate park than meets the eye. And here is the dedication along with these flowers here. Yeah, suddenly the skate park takes on a whole other side. It's connected with Ukraine, international youth activity program sponsored by guys passed away as well. That's interesting. And sad, I couldn't even find much about him. I found a picture of what I think was the materials arriving in the first instance to begin the skate park, and they have, it seems to be the priest, who I assume is from the cathedral there, greeting them. So I guess they all came together to create this. And I mean, I did think it was odd that the skate park is right behind the church, but I guess the church was on board with it. Even better if the priest was directly involved, but I didn't see any action shots. I really like little scenes like this that I really associate with this part of the world, where there's these nice old school lamps. There's this just quiet area on the street where we've got all these benches that are actually quite nice. I can't read what the Armenian language says, but number 71 seems to be on all of them. It's a cute little calm place, a sort of waiting area, but at the same time as it being like quite sweet and quite picturesque, it's also matched with this hardened, kind of dirty earth that isn't really looked after. Like, there's no grass, there's no flowers. I mean, we're out of season really for most flowers, but you know, there's not even grass. It's just sort of scrubby and dirty, and that's juxtaposed against that. And there's some voices, because I think it's a school building up there. Привет! Как дела? I don't know what they're shouting to me, but they're waving, so hopefully that's nice. Yeah, it's this juxtaposition of those two things, which is pretty cool. I'll have to look up the word in case they're throwing abuse at me, but I don't know what it means. Всего доброго! Wish them well and head off. So, as I approach the metro station, the Republic Square metro station, I find this very impressive statue behind me right here. And it's a little bit faded, but I think it's clear that this figure is wrapped in the colors of the Armenian flag. And at first I wasn't sure who it was, because all the writing around here on the floor, this sort of stage that's been created for him, is in Armenian, which I don't understand. So I've done a bit of looking up, and I have discovered it is Aram Manukian. Not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but he is considered, seemingly by many historians, to be the father of the First Republic of Armenia, and was a revolutionary figure back in the around between 1915 up to his death in 1919, if I'm remembering the dates I just read right. So he was already helping to defend parts of Armenia against the Turks when the Armenian genocide was underway. And then the Russian Revolution, of course, is happening in 1917 at kind of the same time. So you would have thought then that he would be a key revolutionary figure as Armenia then joins up with the Soviet project. But it seems as if he was just kind of pushed away, wasn't wanted by the Bolsheviks in their version of history as a main figure. I would have kind of expected, especially because he was dead, if you die like 1919 and people can do anything with your memory, I would have thought that would have been a useful point of reference for the Soviet Union to tell a story, their story, using him, but apparently they decided not to. And then it's only more recently, after the fall of the Soviet Union, that he has been restored, at least in the history books. It's unclear from what I read about whether it's so much he's so well known in popular memory, popular consciousness. But with statues like this, it's clear they want to make a point. Just a little break, because there was some noise being made. So to continue, the memory of Aram Manukian has then been revived for the independent post-Soviet Armenia. So much so that in 1990, as Armenia is declaring its independence, there was a member of the Armenian parliament with the same name, slightly different spelling, at least in transliteration, and he was chosen to read the Declaration of Independence so they could tie the two things together. The idea that this original Aram Manukian was the father of the first Republic of Armenia, and then in 1990 another Aram Manukian declares the independence of Armenia from the Soviet Union. Symbolic gestures like that are kind of fascinating. Like I'm not sure how well that went down. I'd need to speak to an expert, because it sort of feels nice but also seems so completely obvious and maybe a little bit on the nose, a little bit trying to force the point, but maybe it worked. I don't know. Maybe you have to be Armenian to understand that the way that it's intended. So here he is outside the metro. I think it's a really cool looking statue, actually. Looking a little bit worse for wear around the back, perhaps. And now he's guarding the entrance to Republic Square metro. So learned something new today. Hello, Aram Manukian, the father of the Armenian Republic.